What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham, G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the November 12, 2022 edition of the SmackDown LowDown, recapping Friday's SmackDown. No SmackDown LowDown last week. We had Crown Jewel last Saturday, hence why there was no new episode, but it was back this week. With a decent episode, we heard from the Brawling Brutes, we heard from Shotzi, we heard from... who was the other person? Braun Strowman as well, very briefly. But to open up the episode, Jackie Redmond, Matt Camp recap the Usos versus New Day matchup that saw the Usos win and become the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions of all time, at least as of this coming Monday. Before running down the biggest headlines from Friday's show, they recap the World Cup matches that saw Santos Escobar knock off Shinsuke Nakamura and Braun Strowman beat Jinder Mahal to advance to the semifinals. Jackie praises Braun Strowman's red pants. I think she said, I wish he would switch it up a little bit, and Matt Camp makes the case, well, if it's brought him good luck thus far, he probably shouldn't stray from what he's been doing up to this point. From there, Megan Moran catches up with Braun Strowman backstage, who says that he's looking forward to mixing it up with the talent in the rest of the World Cup. He did not say he wasn't looking forward to facing either Ali or Ricochet in the semifinals, assuming he faces the winner of that match, which would have been fucking funny given his tweets from last week about the whole flippy-floppy high-flyer bullshit, which it encompasses a lot of talent in the company that he works for, so it's hysterical. But anyway, he did say he will live up to his nickname in the rest of the World Cup as the monster among monsters in the next round and beyond. Back in the studio, Jackie and Matt preview the semifinals. Santos facing a mystery opponent, the winner of either Ricochet and Ali or Butch and Sami Zayn. Same with Strowman as well. They replay the LA Knight Bray Wyatt backstage exchange, which, as I talked about my SmackDown audio review earlier today, I really like the idea of LA Knight being Bray Wyatt's first feud since coming back. I think that's great and has potential. I'm looking forward to it. The promos, the match, whatever. Back in the studio, they recap the six-pack challenge that saw Shotzi emerge victorious and become the new #1 contender to the SmackDown Women's Championship at Survivor Series. They preview the match, her and Ronda Rousey, before throwing it to Megan Moran backstage with Shotzi, who's emotional, and she discusses how everything she's overcome this year, the good, the bad, the ugly, has all led her to this point, and she's ready to give Ronda Rousey the fight of her life, regardless of how Shayna Baszler factors in, and she'll face Shayna next week on SmackDown. Matt Camp mentions, as Megan did during the interview with Shotzi, that this is Shotzi's first title shot on SmackDown, which isn't technically true. She did contend for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles a literal fucking month ago on SmackDown. Her and Raquel failed to win the titles from Damage Control. But yeah, her first singles opportunity. She has faced Ronda before and lost. At one point in under 90 seconds in that fucking I Quit match many months ago. Or maybe it was before WrestleMania. They had like a beat the clock challenge, and I think it might have been Charlotte. I'm pretty sure it was Ronda. And they've had multiple matches. She has been crushed by Ronda every single time. But this will be her first championship opportunity. She's a babyface now. Hopefully the match will be better come Survivor Series. They also preview, as I mentioned before, Shotzi and Baszler one-on-one for next week's SmackDown, before also replaying the Usos and New Day, a full-on replay this time of the finish to the match on SmackDown last night. When Jackie says, where do you rank this among the New Day Usos matches, which, I mean, what a dumb question, because they've had a million fucking matches, and they're all amazing. You really can't rank one above the other. Aside from maybe the Hell in a Cell match, that Hell in a Cell match was probably their best back at Hell in a Cell 2017. Other than that, they all kind of blend together because they're all great, and not blend together in a bad way because each and every single one has been awesome. Matt Camp gives the smart answer in saying that he doesn't know where it would rank because they're all great, like I just said, but it might have been their most important, which I do agree with the, with what was at stake. If the New Day won, then they would have ended the Usos' lengthy run as tag team champions, but if the Usos won, and they did, they would become the longest reigning tag team champions in company history, breaking the New Day's record as of this coming Monday. And Matt Camp even mentions a few years ago, they did that list, maybe a year or two ago, of like the 50 greatest tag teams in WWE history. The New Day was #1, which is, I don't want to say comical, because they would be up on that list. I don't know if I would put them at #1. This was tag teams, not stables, by the way. Even with stables, I wouldn't put them at #1, although they are great. Matt Camp says the Usos unquestionably, undoubtedly would now be #1 on that list if they did it today, coming off the win on Friday's SmackDown. They replay the final segment that set up the men's War Games match, the Bloodline against McIntyre and the Brawling Brutes. They didn't officially mention War Games. They didn't mention that here on this show because they didn't officially announce it on SmackDown. They did on Raw, not with the men. I'm sure we will get that official announcement next week on SmackDown, if not on Raw. We catch up with the Brawling Brutes backstage. Megan Morant, talks to Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Butch. Ridge Holland says that this was the first step in the downfall of the Bloodline. Sheamus says the same after acknowledging his mic botch, where his mic stopped working during his promo, which was funny. And then Roman, called an audible and acknowledged that. And it's like, you can't even get your mic to work and whatever, which I thought was awesome and great improvisation there. And Sheamus actually blamed Roman for the bad mic, saying, oh, your goons probably, fucked it up beforehand or whatever. I didn't say those exact words, obviously, but I thought that was pretty funny. And he just says that they're ready for war come Survivor Series, which is great, which means that it's going to be War Games. It's pretty obvious. And Camp said that McIntyre told him before the pay-per-view that, if he beats Cross at Crown Jewel, which he did, what would be next for him, and that being going back to the Bloodline, going back to the drawing board, and this time needing backup. And now he has backup in a former friend and a longtime ally and, someone that he has a lot of history with in Sheamus and other Brawling Brutes as well. And now they're going to have that War Games match, and very likely Kevin Owens will join that field as well. And then to close out here, they preview Ali and Ricochet, as well as Butch and Sami Zayn, and the rest of the quarterfinal matches in the World Cup next week. I will be at SmackDown next week, very likely, in Hartford, which I'm looking forward to, so those two matches should be a lot of fun. Until next time, guys, thank you for checking out my review of this edition of the SmackDown LowDown. It was a very solid show, nothing too great, nothing too awful. It was fine. The interviews are pretty much what you would expect, per usual. Pretty standard show from the SmackDown LowDown here. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. I'm Graham G. Matthews. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll catch your ass down the road.